Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. This year I'll be making more wood round signs for my craft fair, and when I got a viewer request asking if I would mind making a tutorial on how I do stenciling on my signs, I thought that would be the perfect opportunity to make a video for those of you who are new to stenciling and would also like to learn how to stencil. So we are going to be making a fall themed wood round sign using a good old-fashioned stencil and some chalk paint. So I will share with you the best type of products to use or supplies to use that will give the best results from my experience and hopefully give you some tips for success. Now there are different ways that I make these signs, and I wanted to be able to share two different ways that I make them, so I decided that I would make two different videos. So one sign I'll be using paint as a base layer, and today's project I'll be using antiquing wax as the base and stenciling with white paint for a simple design. Oh, and I promised that I would do one fall themed sign and one Christmas themed sign. So today will be fall and the next video will be Christmas. Alright, so let's talk about supplies for this project. You're going to need some stenciling brushes, and I would not recommend Dollar Tree stencil brushes. I have tried them and have not had any success. I believe I bought these in a pack at Hobby Lobby. It could have been Walmart, but I'm not positive. If I had to guess, I would say Hobby Lobby. So make sure you get some good stencil brushes. Excuse me, and these are specifically for stenciling. And I liked getting the 3 different sizes because it does come in handy when you're doing smaller letters as opposed to larger areas. Alright, so this sign looks like this when you buy it. I actually got mine at Dollar Tree. I was really surprised that they had them. But I bought several when I had a chance. It does come with a jute hanger, which I took off for now. But as you can see, I've already finished one side with the antiquing wax. So that's our next supply that you'll need is this Waverly antique wax. This came from Walmart, and they have lots of different colors in their paint, just so you know. That's where I get my Waverly chalk paint too, a lot of the times. But anyway, the chalk paint that I'll be using today is Folk Art in white Adirondack, I think is how you say it. And I'm not sure why I have the Folk Art and not the Waverly, but anyway, that's what I'm going to be using today. And let's talk about, let's see, okay, so typically when I do these signs, I will say that they are for indoor use, but if you want to use these outdoor, then I would recommend dishwasher safe Mod Podge once it's all done and finished. Otherwise, if you want it to just be able to be wiped off, you could just use the matte Mod Podge, this one right here, or you don't have to finish it at all, because as you can see, chalk paint is absolutely like almost you can't get it off, and that's why it's all over my stencil, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Obviously, you're going to need stencils. I'll try to find the one where I bought this one. I'll try to list it below, but I'm pretty sure it was Amazon. I'm just not, I'm not positive, but I'll let you know about that in the description box. Let's see. Also, I'm going to be using some ribbon just to make like a messy bow at the top, and that's optional. And I'm also going to be using jute twine for the hanger. You could very well use the twine that comes on it, but it was a little thinner. And I wanted to use this heavier duty jute twine. It just looks better, makes the sign look a little more, I don't know, higher quality, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, oh, I'm also going to be using some washi tape to hold my stencil down, and some alcohol just for cleanup. Alright, so I think that is all for now. So let's just get started. These stencils are the perfect size for these wood signs. I was really surprised at how well they fit. But what you want to do first is, if you're going to make yours like I did, we are going to use the antiquing wax. Let me get my bowl out here. And it doesn't take a whole lot, typically. Now I'm going to be putting the wax on the back here because the front is already dry. And you want to make sure it's good and dry before you start stenciling. So I like to apply the antiquing wax with a baby wipe, a wet baby wipe, and it seems to give a really good result. So just get it on there, and you're just gonna wipe it with the grain, and it does stain your fingers, so be aware of that. So this is exactly how I did the front, but this one was done, I don't know, probably a few months ago, so I thought at least I'd show you how to do the back. Now I like to do the front and the back on my signs. I just think it's nice if people, say somebody wants to hang their sign on a door that has, you know, like a window. And so people from the outside would see the back of the sign and it would be finished. So that's one reason I like to finish the back of the sign, and it just looks better. I think people like that finished detail, so I know I would anyway. But you're just gonna wipe this on just like this. I'm trying to go in one direction because if you go back the other way, then it's kind of getting caught on the baby wipe. So just find the smooth direction and you go with it. And you really can't mess up with this wax. It's just so easy. I'm so thankful that I learned how to do this, because staining is a lot more trouble. And it's really, you probably have to do it in a ventilated area, and yeah, so anyway, so that's all for that. I'm going to wipe off my space here, and I'm going to get my stencil taped down. I like to use a low tack washi tape. I do have some washi tape that is a little stickier than other ones, and so I try to use the one that's not as sticky. Alright, so you want to be mindful of your holes. Make sure that you center your design, you know, based on the direction of your hanger holes. Let's see, get that on there straight, and then we're going to tape it down. So what I like to do is just tape on one side just to hold the stencil still while you're working on one part. I think that's helpful. You don't want your stencil moving around. I mean, you can get it lined back up later if you need to, but I would prefer to not do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up. You can see that made a mess there. But what you're supposed to do is let it dry first, and then use your sign. But I don't have time for that, so it's all right. It's gonna be okay. That's on the back. It won't affect anything at all. I like to stir up my chalk paint so that it's all mixed in real good. There aren't any lumps and it's not separated. And you really don't need a whole lot typically. So the key with using Stencils brushes is that you want to make sure that you don't overload your brush. Like, the key is to use a minimal amount on your brush, like at all times. Because what can happen is the paint will go underneath underneath the stencil, and then you'll get bleeding, and you definitely don't want that. So I'm trying to make sure I'm in frame here. For this tiny word, I'm going to use the smaller brush, and all I'm going to do is just, I really got too much paint, but I'll put it back in the bottle when I'm done. Just dab it, and then you're going to swirl it. You want to make sure you don't have any globs on your stencil brush. So swirl it, and then we're going to use a light circular stroke. I think I want to put another piece of washi tape up here. Let's see. That way it'll hold it on up there. It's probably fine without it, but you definitely need to hold around your lettering so that it helps to hold your stencil down while you're working. And you just go in circles with a light hand and try holding down around the letter as you work on it. Now, I know it's not going to look like there's a whole lot of paint on there, and there really isn't, but somehow it just works. And if you need to go back and do another coat, you can, but sometimes it's too much and you really don't need it. It'll leave like, how can I say this? It'll make the paint too thick and leave like a lip around your letters. I mean, which is fine. I don't mind that, but sometimes it can look a little weird. So you're just going to use a light circular motion. Make sure you hold down tight around your letters. After a while, this does get tiring if you have if you have a lot of, like if you have a big stencil to do. But it's really worth it. I think these are so pretty when you get finished with them. They just really turn out pretty. Now this is a very inexpensive way to put designs on your signs. If you don't have a Cricut, which I do not. But I really enjoy painting, and so I don't mind the stenciling. I'm not sure I'll ever buy a Cricut. Okay, so I can continue using this. Oh, that's not sticking on the back because it's wet. Okay, I just did that for time purposes because I know we don't have time to let this dry, and I don't do editing, so that is a challenge. So anyway, let me see if I can keep using this size brush, see if it's gonna work. If not, then I'll switch to the bigger brush. But let's see, I wanted to explain about finishing your wood before you stencil. So in my experience, you definitely need to have a layer of something. I have tried stenciling on just plain wood, and it doesn't turn out good. It bleeds. It just did not turn out very good at all. I'm not saying you can't do it. You can definitely try for yourself, but I prefer to have a base layer of something on the wood. And for this one, obviously, is the antiquing wax. Next video, I'll be putting a layer of chalk paint on first, and then I'll be using chalk paint to stencil with. And I feel that chalk paint is the best, gives the best results for stenciling. I think it's just because the way it grabs the surface, and it doesn't, you know, it's not runny like an acrylic paint would be. So, and chalk paint is really durable, so that's one reason I don't really feel the need to finish these if they're going to be for indoor use, because the chalk paint will never come off. It just won't. And that brings up another point. If you noticed, before I started using this stencil, it was covered in chalk paint. And that's because I did not clean my stencil once I was finished with my last project. And it's really hard to get off if you don't clean it right after you use it. So here's a tip for you. Sometimes when I can't get my finger in there, I'll use something to hold it down like that. So what you want to do, as soon as you finish using your stencil, you want to take a rag with some alcohol and just wipe it off. And it does come off very easily. But if you let the chalk paint dry, it's on there so good. It just, I mean, I tried to clean it before I started this video, just so it would be more presentable, but I almost tore the letters trying to get it off because it's almost like, it's worse than glue. So the cleanup is hard unless you do it quickly. And so yeah, there's a tip for you. Make sure you clean your brushes right away when you're finished, because the chalk paint will harden in your brush. You'll have the same problem. Typically, you know, if you really work hard, alcohol, if you soak your brush in alcohol, sometimes you can salvage your brush. But, yeah. I try to do better now that I know. But yeah, you're just going to use a light motion. You don't want to push too hard. You just want to keep going in circles. And you just pray that it works. There's a way to make correction mistakes if your paint bleeds. When you've painted the surface with paint, it's easier to clean up. But if you have prepared your surface with antique wax and the white bleeds onto it, that's a lot harder to correct. Actually, I don't know if you actually can correct it. Hopefully I don't have to find out in this video, but I've never had to correct when I've used a surface prepared with this wax. So anyway, I'm moving to my medium stencil brush so that I can cover more of the surface of this pumpkin. Because it's larger, I'm gonna need a bigger brush. I'm pretty sure the pack of stencils I got came with maybe different seasons, I want to say. There was only one fall one in there, and this was it. I'll have to check on that before I post the video. I'll make sure to, because I always like to list all of the supplies in the description area. And so I'll try to find this stencil for you. If I can't, I mean, you can buy stencils anywhere online, just about. I don't know about in stores, but I usually buy all of mine online. Oh, this part's moving, so gotta be careful with that. Hopefully I didn't just mess it up. That's okay. If I do mess up, I'm just gonna keep going and at least show you guys how I finish this. Hopefully I don't, and I can put it in my craft fair. I will say, if it makes you all feel better, that you might see some really good finished stenciled projects that I've done. But I do make mistakes, and honestly, sometimes I just have to throw them in the trash because there's just no way to fix them. Trust me, if there was a way, I would do it, because I don't like to waste money. But sometimes you just gotta toss it and move on. I think that's just the way crafting goes. I hear a lot of crafters say, oh, I could salvage that. But for me, I'm thinking, is the trouble worth it? How hard is it to fix it? Because if it's too hard, I'd rather just throw it away and lose $1.25 than spend like 2 hours trying to fix something. And you could definitely use colored paint on this, but I wanted to make this video easy for beginners. Let's just do one color for now. My next video I may or may not, I haven't decided yet, if I'm gonna do one that has multiple colors. That does take more time, and I don't know if it's going to be too long of a video. I guess I shouldn't worry about how long the videos are, because I guess if you guys want to watch it, you will. Right? You can always watch them fast forward too. That's helpful. I do that sometimes when I'm watching videos and I either don't have time or it's not really necessary to watch the slow parts. I'll watch it in a faster speed. I like to try to mention that to people because they may not know. May not know that's an option. Okay. Alright, so I'm getting to where my washi tape is in the way, and I have to pull it up and tape it somewhere else. I think it's going to be challenging because the back of my sign is wet and the washi tape doesn't seem to want to stick, but I think it'll be okay. Maybe it's getting dry enough to where it will. So I'm going to tape this down for now. And the reason you want to have a low washi tape, because it can pull off the color of the wax. So you can do that. I have done that before. That's how I know. Okay, let's see if we can get this up. Alright, that looks good. Not pulling it up there. Okay, and you can save your tape and use it over and over several times. That's what I do. That way you don't have to stop and tear it off every time. You already have some just kind of hanging out on the edge of your table there for when you need it. I have been working on a new project for my craft fair. I'm not sure. I might just do a project share on that one. I'm not sure I will do an actual tutorial because it does involve stenciling. And so, I don't know. Maybe I should do that for my next video. I haven't decided yet. I am just living for the now. Sometimes that's as far as I can get is today. I think I had a little bit too much paint on that brush, so I gotta be careful. And one thing with finishing your project with Mod Podge is that it changes the look. So I like that matte finish that you get when you stencil with chalk paint, because the antiquing wax is matte and then the chalk paint is matte, and I just love that look. It just, what would you say? It looks kind of farmhousey, I guess. But when you put a layer of Mod Podge on it, it leaves a sheen. Even if you use the matte Mod Podge, you still get a sheen. And so that's one reason I don't like to finish these. Just leave them plain. So I think if you used orange for the pumpkin on top of this brown wax, I don't think the color would be vibrant enough. And so what I would recommend if you wanted to do orange on top of the dark, I think the best thing to do is to paint it white first and then do orange. But if you wanted the background to be the wax color, you could do like we're doing now and stencil with the white, and once that's dry, then you could go over it with the orange, and I think that would make it pop. But if you went straight in with orange on top of this brown, I think it would make it look muddy and not very vibrant, but I mean, that might be the look you're going for. If you like that more muted type look, you might actually like that. But I just thought I'd mention it. These are time consuming, and I have tried using these little spouncers, I think that's what you call them, with no success. It made the paint bleed underneath and was a mess. I had to throw it away. I was working on one of those Dollar Tree bamboo cutting boards, and it was so bad I just had to trash it. So if you're thinking about using a spouncer, I hope it works for you, but it did not work for me. And there's another tip for you. Okay, so you just want to get a little bit of paint, circle it, and then use a light circular motion. I know this seems redundant, but these really do take time. That's one thing I think I love about stenciling, is that it is truly handmade. You know, there's no shortcuts. You'd have to really spend time making these, but if you like to paint, the outcome is just so cool once you're finished and you pull it off, and everything looks like it's supposed to. That's such a good feeling for me. I love that. I've been trying to make Christmas ornaments for my craft fair. But, you know, I still try to keep things fun. I don't want to just craft because I have to. And so I made 5 Christmas ornaments. I'm like, okay, I want to do something else. And so I did. But I'll have to come back to it because that's one thing I have to make sure I have enough of. at my craft fair is Christmas ornaments. People love to buy Christmas ornaments for gifts or for themselves too. Let's see, how am I going to do this? There's just one little piece here. One thing about leaving this paint on here and it dried hard, it made the edges, you know, like where the paint is, it made my stencil kind of rigid around the edges here. And so it makes it kind of lift off of the surface of the sign, and I don't really like that. You know, when they come new, they're just like flexible, but when you let paint dry on there, it just makes it rigid. So I don't know, I may have to buy another one of these because I really love this this design. So I might have to buy another set with this particular one in it. Another thing is, when you get chalk paint on your finger like this, it is so hard to get off. I mean, you can use soap all day long, but one thing I've found that helps the most is alcohol. But it does dry out your skin, so you got that. I guess I should probably use gloves. That might be better to use gloves. I don't know. Alright, we're almost to the end of this one. I don't know how many of you are still with me, but if you are, I'm glad you're here. Some viewers say they say they use my videos when they can't sleep at night. I'm like, okay. I mean, that could be a compliment, or that they're so boring they put you to sleep. But hey, whatever the case, I'm glad that it helps. Okay, we're almost done. And hopefully this will be good and dry almost already. That way we can keep moving along. I will be using some Fabri-Tac glue to attach my bow. A lot of crafters use hot glue, and I have found that hot glue is not a good option for long-term hold. So I have basically stopped using hot glue to hold on important things, on things like this, like my signs. And the Fabri-Tac does take longer to dry, and you gotta hold it a little longer, but I try to use these little clips, and that way I don't have to hold it. So yeah, so this is where you hold your breath and hope it works. Oh goodness. Alright, see if we can get this tape off here. Got one more up on the edge. Alright, so I am going to make a bow, and I just want to preface by saying I'm not the greatest bow maker, but I did want to at least finish this sign for you guys. I didn't want to just leave you hanging and just say, oh yeah, you can make yourself a bow without actually doing one with you. So please be kind about my bow, because it's not going to be the best. But that's okay. Alright, so it turned out pretty good. Not bad at all. Okay, so what you want to do next is get a, find a brush that has a small tip. This one might actually be too big, but I can't tell yet. So I'm just going to put a little water on it and squeeze it out. And then, you see these lines here that hold the letters together on the stencil? We're just going to fill those in with chalk paint. And that'll take a few minutes to do. If you like the way that looks, you can just leave them. And sometimes I do leave them. It depends on the look I'm going for. But I felt like this one needed to be finished. You just gotta be careful, because if you mess up on this one, I don't really know if you can correct it. You know, if you got white somewhere you didn't want it to be, you may be able to use the antique wax to fix it, but I'm not sure. I can't say that for sure. I hope I don't have to find out. And this does take a little bit of a steady hand. Some days my hand isn't very steady, so that would be not a good day to do this project. Hopefully that's dry. That's one thing I like about chalk paint, is that it dries fast. So you can see, like, even though we used a minimal amount of paint on that stencil brush, it still looks really, it still turned out really good. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it looks like you're not really getting a good coverage when you're stenciling that light coat. But it's more than you think. And it's better to get too light of a coat than too heavy of a coat, because when you get too heavy, more than likely it's gonna bleed. And You can fix bleeding when you have a painted base, but when it's like this, I don't know. Alright, so it looks like the only one left is the O here. And be really careful because that's small. I might need to use a tinier brush. I hope you can see that. Okay. Looks like I need to go back over a little bit because it has a dark bottom. It's showing through that paint there. Okay, I think that looks good. Make sure you rinse your brush out good, so it doesn't dry on there. I'm gonna try to salvage this chalk paint. So that I don't waste it. I like the coverage of the folk art. I think that's why I use folk art white instead of Waverly white. But I do use all of the colored chalk paints from Waverly. They are they're really good. And you get them at Walmart. You can get them in these little tiny bottles. And they have so many colors, and they're only just a couple dollars, like maybe $2 per bottle, which is nice because if you have to buy a lot of different colors, then it makes it more affordable. All right, I'm gonna have to clean up my hands later, so just forgive me. Oh, I did get some white on the back of there. I'll just have to fix that later. Anyway, this video is going to be really long. Alright, so what we're going to do next, let's see. We are going to, what are we going to do? Let's see, I'm going to use Jute Twine, and I'll show you how I like to make the hanger. So I like to go through the back, and hopefully this one will fit. I just bought this Jute Twine from Michael's online, and I'm not sure if it's going to be too big for the holes, so let's see. I do have a beading needle. I could use that, but I'm not sure where it is at the moment. There we go. Alright, so I like to take it and make a knot on the front. I like the way that looks. But honestly, with this one, I think it's not really going to matter too much because the bow might actually cover it up. So I like to make one knot, and then I will do it again and make the knot bigger. And that way it doesn't slide through the hole. If it gets pulled. So here we go. That's the way that looks. And I went ahead and did that one before I detached it from here. That way I can see how much I might need for a hanger. Let's see. That looks like a good height. So I'm going to measure it to the hole here, but then we're going to need room for the knot. So I try to give myself extra room. So I kept my finger here to measure where I wanted it to be. And then you just make your knot where your thumb is. Oh, shoot. I forgot to put it through the hole. Guys, it is late. Goodness. Is it Monday? I'm just kidding. I know it's Friday, but some days feel like Monday every day to me. All right. So, let's see if we can pull that through. Oh, gosh. I can't believe I just did that. All right. Well. Okay, so let's measure it off again. Now that it's through the hole. And that looks pretty good. So I'll put the knot right there where your thumb is. And then you're going to make another knot like you did the other side. Make sure the knots are together so it makes one big knot. Now, if you wanted to, you could, you could tie this the other direction. Like I said, I just like the way the knots look in the front. Okay, so there's your hanger. Sometimes I feel like they put the holes a little too far down. So it can interfere with your design, which this one is a little bit right there, but I think it's okay. All right, so I'm going to sit this to the side for now, and that antique wax is still wet. Now before I came on here, I cut some ribbon. Oh, I wanted to show you the ribbon I got at Dollar Tree. And the ribbon I'll be using. Okay, so the one I'm using right now is this one, and this came from Dollar Tree. So that's my first layer. My second layer, this one came from Michael's. And this is like tan with like gold sparkles in it. My next layer is this one, and this one came from Hobby Lobby. It's the orange gingham. And then the last one is this, looks like burlap with gold on the edge. And this one is Dollar Tree too. But I wanted to show you this pretty ribbon I got from Dollar Tree the other day. I love that. I thought about using it, but I have a pumpkin on the sign, so I figure I shouldn't use a pumpkin on the ribbon too. But isn't this so pretty? And the leaves, I love this one too. Alright, I just wanted to share that with you real quick. I'm just going to make a messy bow. Trying to think if I should dovetail the edges before I put it together. Let's see. Yeah, I should probably do that. I might make it easier. So let's just do these edges real quick. Actually, I think I'm going to use these scissors. Looks good. Okay. So there's that one. I put these in order so I wouldn't get them mixed up. So the next one is going to be this one. I'm going to dovetail these. And, you know, I don't have specific measurements for this ribbon. I just, I just like, measured the ribbon, against the sign to figure out how long to cut the pieces, if that makes sense. So, I guess if you want measurements, this one is 13 inches. This one is 10.5 inches. And I'm just gonna crisscross these just like that. Okay, the next one, these are going to be about 8.5 inches. I'm gonna dovetail these two. Maybe they're awful tiny. Okay, there's that one. I'm getting better at making bows, but I still struggle. Do you all struggle with bows? Or is it something that comes easy for you? Alright, so I decided to do two longer ones. This one is about 7 3/4. So I did two that were 7 3/4, and then one is just a little bit shorter. Oh, a little bit longer at 8. So why did I do that? Oh, I think I remember. Okay. I probably should have done this before I started recording, but I wanted to show you all how I did it in case you wanted to know. Alright, so I'm just going to crisscross that one. Like, I'm going to do these last two like an X, like I did all the others. But I wanted to put one across the middle because I felt like it needed something across the middle. That's why I did 3 of this last one. Not sure if it'll work, but we are about to find out. So one in the middle. Cross it like this. Now I'm going to tie it with a little piece of this thin jute. You could probably use wire. I have wire. But I figure this would be just fine. So I should have laid down my string first. Okay, this is usually the hardest part, is trying to find the center, because just when I think I've got the center marked, it's not. It just never works. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work here. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so I'm just gonna tie it in a knot. Hopefully that's in the middle. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish it off here. And Uh-oh. How did I get 3 strings? Did I cut it? I'm not sure how that happened, but I had 3 strings that I cut. All right, there's my messy bow. That was not too bad. Okay, so let's bring back the side. Try to make some space here. Okay, so I was a little concerned about the bow being too big. Excuse me, I definitely don't want it to cover up the letters. So what I will do after the bow dries, I will probably do some, like, since this is wired ribbon, I'll probably do a little bending like this. And that way I could make it not be in the way of the words. So I'm going to do that last, and it does take some time for this fabric tack to dry. I'm going to go ahead and glue it on here, and I'm also going to put a little embellishment in the center of this. So let's see which way is better. Is that one better? No, I think this way is better. I do like to put a good bit so that it holds really well. And you could definitely use hot glue and fabric tack if you wanted. I'm going to have to bring this close to me so I can make sure I get it centered. But like I said, I just feel like hot glue is just not the best option, so I'm just not using it at all. I did get a little too much glue, so I gotta try to clean it up here. That was way too much glue. Way too much. Like I said, we're gonna fix this bow after it dries. Once it gets good and dry on there, so I'm gonna put a little thing there for hold it for a few minutes. And while I've got that sitting, I need to try to clean this glue up a little bit. All right. Made a little bit of a mess there. That's okay. All right. So I wanted to show you these little leaf embellishments I got from Hobby Lobby. They're little sparkly leaves. I was trying to see which one might look good there. The gold is pretty. The orange is pretty too. I don't care for the red. Let's see what this brown one looks like. Do you all like that one? I can't tell. Which is your favorite? Which is your favorite color? I'm definitely not going to do red. So it's either going to be orange. That's the one I made last year. I used orange and I like the way that looked. But the gold one's pretty too. Gosh, how do you decide? I think I'm going to do orange. Classic fall color. So these are stickers. And what I'm going to do is add a little glue here. And then attach it to the center. And then I'll put this little thing back on there to hold it down. When I make these signs, I like to, oh shoot, my leaf flipped over. That's okay. Goodness gracious. I like to put my little logo signs on the back. So I make these circle stickers that have my or not my website, my email address on it with my Simple Creations name on there. And I feel like that gives it like just like a special touch. I feel like, you know, it just, I don't know, it makes the item look more high-end. And if somebody gives it as a gift, then that person will know that it was handmade. So I like to do that. I put them on the back of my signs. And so there's a little tip there. So probably what I'll do is a little manipulation with the ribbon, so that it's doesn't cover the sign. So let's do that here. Put like a little wave in the ribbon there. And that'll help move it up. Oh, I like the way this turned out. It looks pretty good. This one doesn't have any, these two don't have any wire in them, so they're just kind of where they are. But I know this is still here, but that's the way it turned out. I think these are so pretty, and they do take time, but I really think they're worth making, and people really do like them. My signs sell really well. And so yeah, thank you all so much for watching my stencil video. If you're interested in seeing the Christmas one, I'll try to get that out soon. And I hope this will help you in your stenciling journey, and hopefully give you some inspiration to make your own wood signs for your craft fairs, or for your own home, or for family or friends. So that's all for today's video. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still here, and I hope to see you in the next one.